Dear colleagues from the various European countries, first of all, thank you to ENSP for the invitation to speak at this important annual conference taking place this time in Slovenia. Unfortunately, I'm unable to be in Ljubljana with you due to other work commitments, but I'm happy to make use of modern technology. As you may know, Slovenia, your host country, is currently working toward the adoption of a strong and advanced tobacco control law. Their commitment is clear, but challenges, including the tobacco industry tactics, are also very present. And this session is about tobacco industry interference in tobacco control policy to oppose effective tobacco control measures. Over many years, the tobacco industry has misled politicians and the public about the harm from smoking. Recognizing the extent to which the tobacco industry has misused its power to exert influence in policy making, the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, particularly its Article 5.3, is clear, and I quote, "In setting and implementing their public health policies with respect to tobacco control, parties shall act to protect these policies from commercial and other vested interests of the tobacco industry in accordance with a national law." And I end the quote. But yet, European policymakers have little understanding and awareness of their legal obligations under this article and its guidelines, and the need to protect public health policies from the vested interest of the tobacco industries and their allies. Much is still to be done to increase policymakers' awareness of and compliance with its provisions. There are multiple reasons for this low awareness, and let me refer to some of them, particularly two. Article 5.3, what I referred to before, focuses on public health policy more broadly rather than tobacco control, which often falls beyond the health ministries. Yet we know that ministers of other than health are just as susceptible, if not even more, to tobacco industry's attempt to secure their active presence and role. Another factor I would like to share with you could be that while some of the tobacco industry's tactics are well known, others are more recent. For example, a well-established tobacco industry tactic is the use of media, front groups, and academic research to weaken tobacco control measures. More often than in the past, tobacco companies are now using intimidation tactics via legal challenges. As said earlier, tobacco is an extraordinary problem requiring extraordinary action. Despite overwhelming evidence since 1950s that smoking kills, the WHO European region has the highest level of smoking among WHO regions globally. Tobacco use in Europe is responsible for 16% of deaths in adults over the age of 30, while across the region and in various countries, smoking among adolescents is increasing, in large part because of the actions of the global tobacco industry. Against this background, the WHO Regional Office for Europe developed a playbook of arguments to illustrate how tobacco industry players act and how governments and the public health community can respond to their arguments. This web-based playbook was launched in the middle of September in front of the 53 Ministers of Health in Copenhagen. Health ministries and tobacco control advocates in the European region know what works and what does not work in tobacco control. They have the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, a treaty which is legally binding to 180 countries globally. Countries have also made a commitment to reach the goal of a minimum 30% of relative reduction in the prevalence of tobacco use, which should and could ultimately lead Europe to be a tobacco-free region. Despite these commitments and remarkable progress in the face of ruthless and cynical opposition, tobacco control remains difficult and complex. While the tobacco industry and its allies have always strenuously opposed effective tobacco control measures, their strategies to subvert the policy process have now become even more determined, aggressive, and sophisticated. Until now, there has been no single source explaining how tobacco industry players act and how governments and the public health community can respond to their arguments. This is why the WHO Regional Office for Europe decided to develop this publication. The playbook has been developed by collecting numerous arguments from different thematic areas of its life, such as health, law, economy, trade, reflecting the challenges that tobacco control leaders have faced while implementing various articles of the WHO FCTC. This playbook is a start of what is intended to be a living document in English and Russian, which will be updated with new arguments and on the basis of feedback from you, as well as any developments in tobacco industry approaches. Everyone, meaning you, concerned with tobacco control, are invited to contribute to its success by continuing to offer arguments and responses and sharing your experiences through a dedicated website. Another 6 arguments, again from various sectors, will be posted by the end of this year, and the work will carry on in 2017 with new arguments to be added to the playbook of arguments. Looking forward to your feedback from my side on the playbook of arguments as it stands at the moment, and how you would like to see it in future. And please pay attention that the playbook is available in the following address: www.tobaccoplaybook.net. I wish you a successful conference and inspiring discussions on the future of tobacco control in this region, including tobacco-free Europe.